F1 has had some amazing commentators over the years. Murray Walker, of course, being the most iconic. James Hunt, unreal in the car and pretty decent behind the microphone as well. James Allen, my personal favourite, and Jonathan Legard, absolute legends. I grew up watching them in the kind of late 90s, early 2000s. That was F1 all over for me. There's been some incredible F1 commentators over the years. And since 2012, the Sky Sports F1 head lead coverage person has been David Crofty Croft. So today we're diving into all things Crofty, from his early days, as much info as I could find about his early days, his career progress to the point where he is essentially the voice of Formula One. And I'll stick my personal thoughts about Crofty on towards the end of the video too. Creeping up to 90k subs now, we all know what's just over the horizon, so I would be extra appreciative of any likes and subs. For this one, I've checked the analytics, 64.5% of you who have watched my channel in the last 28 days are not subscribed. So I know, you're not getting away, I know. Crofty was born in Stevenage in Hertfordshire, which is the same birthplace as a certain F1 driver by the name of Lewis Hamilton. He's meant to be pretty good. He was born on the 19th of June 1970 in Stevenage, but his parents and grandparents and all his kind of extended family are from up north in Sheffield. Crofty loved cricket as a kid, but always dreamt of being a commentator. Apparently, he always used to commentate himself when he was playing football in the back garden or whatever. I feel like with Crofty, I can picture it. I can picture him just talking and talking and talking. He loves a chinwag, old Crofty, doesn't he? As a youngster, Crofty was working as a theatre publicity officer. I'm not really sure what that is either, to be honest. And a friend asked him to do a match report on their local team, Stevenage Borough. That's the earliest reference I can find of him kind of working in the sports journalism sector. But also when he was young, he managed to commentate on an under-20s football tournament with a very young David Beckham playing in the team. Now, with Crofty 5 years Beckham senior, you've got to assume David Croft was about 24 years of age then. So young, but not super young. Hospital Radio is where Crofty's broadcasting career truly first began, at Radio Fairfield. The hospital in question was Fairfield Hospital in Bedfordshire, and it was a psychiatric hospital which ended up being closed in 1999. After that gig, he moved to BBC Three Counties Radio, which kind of, I think it's Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire. It's like the three counties that are above London, and he was working there as a sports reporter and editor. And then BBC 5 Live snapped him up in 1998, where he ended up covering a lot of big sporting events, 2002 World Cup, 2004 Olympics, for example. And he presented their Summer Saturday Sports Show, that's a mouthful, in 2004 and 2005. Now, you can't talk about Crofty without talking about his love of darts. He's been commentating on the darts in various forms for various different kind of companies since his time at 5 Live. I would definitely say that seems to be his second love after Formula One at the moment in terms of sport. You know, if he doesn't, he's not going to stay in F1 forever. I wouldn't be surprised that once he eventually knocks F1 on the head, we wouldn't be seeing him in a bit of darts commentary down the line at Lakeside. Now, as you can see, up to this stage, we haven't really discussed Formula One because he didn't actually jump onto the F1 commentary scene until 2006 when he took the role of lead BBC 5 Live F1 commentator. Even back then, he was working alongside Anthony Davidson, Natalie Pinkham, Ted Kravitz. But then in 2012, when Sky Sports launched Sky Sports F1, they nabbed all those from BBC and brought them over to the Sky family. Crofty took the position of head commentator alongside Martin Brundle, who had been doing the commentary in F1 for years, and the rest is history. So according to an interview I found from Crofty in like 2017, talking about his move to Sky Sports F1 in 2012, apparently he was offered the position by the head producer in a bar in Las Vegas at the end of 2011 to start for the 2012 season. Crofty did confess that kind of before that happened, he wasn't 100% sure which sport to specialise in because he had covered football, darts, F1 and numerous other sports as well. But obviously this position coming up kind of made that decision for him because obviously it's worked out an absolute treat for him. Now, Sky Sports F1 deal started in 2012, runs till 2024 and was exclusive in the UK, as in you can only watch F1 live through Sky Sports in the UK from 2019. Cheers, Bernie. That means we're likely to see Crofty in F1 till at least 2024, because I've seen a lot of people criticise Crofty and be like, they should get someone else in charge at F1. But ultimately, F1 don't get to make that decision. That's on Sky Sports. He is employed by Sky Sports. You know, a lot of people say about Alex Jakes, incredible commentator. He should be there, but technically he's already got the lead F1 role because he does F1 TV. Crofty is still the face because, again, Sky have that monopoly in the UK. They also sell their broadcast to Canada, the US, various other countries as well who use their commentary, and that's made Crofty the voice of Formula One. Now, Crofty does get a lot of stick. Look, I ain't going to jump on him because ultimately it's live TV. That must be an incredibly difficult and stressful gig at times, so I don't envy that at all. And his voice has become absolutely iconic. I mean, just look at the "it's lights out and away we go" as a term. He's kind of coined that, hasn't he? Now, regarding that phrase, I actually put the call out on Twitter because, you know, you lot are much more intelligent than me, asking kind of when was the first time he used that. My boy Matt Ames come out clutch because, check out Matt's channel, by the way, absolute don. First time he ever used that full phrase was in his second race in the commentary box at the 2012 Malaysian Grand Prix, second race of the season, when he used the full "it's lights out and away we go." First race in Australia in 2012, he said "it's lights out," but he didn't say "and away we go." Also, it appears pretty clear from you lot in the comments that Crofty didn't actually make up this all by himself. He probably kind of borrowed it from Ben Edwards, who does the C4 coverage and has been commentating in motorsport for years now. I absolutely love Ben Edwards because there's plenty of documented instances when Ben has used that phrase way before 2012. Also, Mr. Voiceover himself, Tom Brooks, mentioned that when he was chatting to Crofty once, Crofty actually, and it's a very, very good point as to why he uses that phrase. By the time you've said "it's lights out and away we go," that takes what, 2.5, 3 seconds to say? That's enough time to take in what's going on, who's making moves and all that, so that straight away he can punch into what's going on without some kind of like awkward delay, you know what I mean, where he's trying to register everything. It's a very good point. Thank you for that little nugget of information, Tom. So, what do I think of him? Well, I think Crofty does a great job, I genuinely do, of channeling the excitement of what's going on screen to us, the viewer. Sure, he gets the names of drivers in the same team mixed up quite a lot, which can be very, very frustrating as a viewer because your eyes are seeing one thing and your ears are hearing another. But look, no one's perfect. I can forgive him for that because I do genuinely think overall he does do a fantastic job. Do I think Ben Edwards, do I think Alex Jakes do a better job? Honestly, I do. For me, they both put forward even more kind of natural passion and excitement when they're watching things. Crofty, I don't know, at times he can be a bit stale and it feels a bit forced at times. Maybe that's probably my biggest criticism of him. But again, I hold Ben and Alex in very, very high esteem. Crofty's up there, just not quite at that level. Like, as much as Crofty has been doing it for 14 years now, I do think it comes across that he's not a born and bred, thoroughbred motorsport guy. Like, I do feel a bit sorry for him at times when like they're shooting in free practice, you know, PDR, Karen Chanduk and Anthony Davidson, and Crofty, I don't know, he just feels like a bit of a spare wheel at times because he can't really get into the conversation because he doesn't have that real deep knowledge. And then in the commentary itself, sometimes Martin Brundle, who's this fountain of knowledge and been in the sport for years as a racer, as a commentator, just kind of undermines him at times, not on purpose, not to be mean, just the fact that Martin just knows his stuff. There's a parity there that doesn't always work. But generally, again, like I'm holding everyone to a very high standard because I think generally the quality of the commentating across the board in Formula One is very, very good and has been very, very good for as long as I've watched the sport and beyond that. But listen, like, no one's perfect. But yeah, there we have it. That's pretty much all the information I was able to find on David Crofty. Croft, what do you think of him? Do you rate his commentary? Do you think he gets too much stick? Maybe who would be your dream F1 commentary kind of duo? And I've linked a bunch of articles that I referenced in this video. So if you're interested in finding a little bit more about Crofty, a little bit more specific information, then feel free to give that a read. I hope you've enjoyed this one. My name's been Tommo. Again, like, sub, all that good stuff. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.